Okay, this is Mr. Childs, your teacher, AP Statistics. Here we go. As promised, this is your study guide for your quiz. Remember, the quiz is over two distributions. First, the binomial. Second, the geometric, either one. uh, Let's begin with the binomial. Binomial, remember, you have to have these conditions met. A fixed number of trials, two possible outcomes, P or Q, each trial independent, and a fixed success rate, those four conditions. Now, when I'm thinking about geometric, I am thinking about the probability of the first success. So that would separate the two into those two categories. As far as the formula is concerned, you should have this written down anyway, but the binomial is combinations n things picking x amount of times. If you wanted to, I doubt you do this on the quiz, but if you wanted to, you could hit n, the number n, whatever the number is, hit math, go over to probability down to ncx, and then put in x, and it would give you how many combinations can be picked from that. I guess mainly what you need to, as far as the calculator is concerned, understand by hitting second vars, you go to distribution, and the binomial and the geometric are both there if you scroll down. But the key is to know the difference between PDF and CDF. PDF is one outcome, just one. And cumulative outcomes, CDF, go from 0 up to that number. And then the mean and the standard deviation. The mean for a binomial is n times p. The standard deviation for a binomial is the square root of n times p times q. For geometric, the mean is 1 over p, and the standard deviation is the square root of p over q divided by q squared. All right. So I think that's all the stuff. Now let's kind of look at the quiz and see if we can give you a few tips. Question 1 is a graph. It is interpretation of a graph. And I got to be honest with you, I think you could have done this one maybe without any binomial or geometric thoughts. Another thing, just to be clear, at least, when you hear the words at least, it means inclusive, including that number and higher. At most is inclusive, that number and lower. You can't get those two messed up, or you will have a lot of trouble. All right, so that was question 1, graph. I think you can just do it without a whole lot of binomial or geometric. I may pause a little between questions because I already made the quiz and I am just looking to reread the questions before I present them to you. May cause this video to last a little longer, but I still think it'll be beneficial. Looks good. I would say for second, you should be thinking binomial. And if you know how to work the binomial CDF or PDF, Should be no problem. Rod Rebilliard just came to the door and attempted to ruin this video, but he won't do it. All right, number 3. Number 3 is the standard deviation of a binomial. Make sure you know that formula. Of course, you can bring all these things in, so if you're organized at all and can find these things, you should have no problem. Number 4. Number 4 is finding the means and then doing a little process once you found the means for a binomial. So just remember your n times p, and then it asks you to do something once you've got that for 2 different distributions. Should have no problem with it. Number 5. Number 5 looks like a good interpretation of what the mean and the standard deviation are. So you should know that, I hope from early in the class that you know the mean, and especially in a normal model, is the center, the most common, well, that would, where most of the data is the mean. And you know how to form a mean. You've known that before you came into this class. Standard deviation is a measurement of how the distribution varies. One standard deviation, 68%. But you know the 2 formulas, n times p, and then the square root of n times p times q. So if you know both of them, should be no problem. Number 6. Number 6 is just a good old problem dealing with binomial, and just make sure you know what at most means. Means you can't go higher than that number inclusive. Number 7. Number 7 is the same. I think you're going to do well on this, to be honest with you. I think we've had a pretty good study session. Well, it was last period for E. It'll be next period for G. But once again, no problem. On 7, I do not believe. Number 8, I'll give you a clue. You're looking for the first success, so I would say geometric. Number 9, expected number. Another way, expected number. Expected is the same thing as the mean. And to find somebody, that means the first. You know what that means. Geometric. And then finally, number 10. Expected value. Mean. I think that's good. I think you're going to do well on this. Notice that I am not afraid to show my face. No icon. You could do that too. It'd be easier to converse back and forth, but I'll let your conscience be your guide on that. So we're making good progress. This finishes up probability, and we'll start what is probably the most unusual part of the class, but it's not that hard. I think this stuff is harder, but it's unusual. It is inference, making inferences, taking a sample, and then from that sample, you make predictions about the population. Okay, I wish you a good weekend. And so remember on Tuesday, we're going to do those two homework problems that I assigned. And then that will give us plenty of time to do the quiz too. Have a nice weekend over and